All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm Vince Duvall with Eagle Homes. Thank you to those that told us we had some
Audio issues.
audio issues. I definitely appreciate that. I think we got it fixed. It's quite interesting. It's kind of disappointing that that failed for us.
So we're gonna start over.
Yeah. So what we're talking about today is we're talking about predictions for 2024. I think this is gonna be a fun little conversation now that we got
Yeah.
3/4 of the way through it.
For those that couldn't hear, recap what 2023 predictions were,
2022.
or 2022 to 2023 were
Yep. And
kind of
then
come true, and then we're gonna go through the 2024 predictions, and we're gonna kind of take a guess, and we'll keep this for next year then.
yeah.
And then I'm gonna go over kind of the difference at an average of $250,000 loan at various interest rates, kind of what your differences are, so you can tell that. And I've got a comparison to then at 3.5%. So
Yeah.
we're gonna hit that. So let's get going here again. Brad Brewer, Vince Duvall here with Eagle Homes, our lovely podcast that we normally have volume and didn't start the day with.
Dang.
Coldwell Banker, of course.
Gosh darn it. We
And-
failed. Sorry for those that were watching us live.
Well,
2022. So, and I'm using Zillow because Zillow definitely has predicted the last 3 or 4 years, not accurately, but that's data I could find, and everybody knows Zillow. So I think it's fun to use something that is known. Now, does everybody like Zillow? No, but for some reason, people fall back to their resources. So let's talk about this. 2022 will fall just short of record breaking. It did. I think 2022 for us in the Midwest was a very record-breaking number of sales, how much homes jumped up in price. Heck, I mean, we even broke records of how many offers on a table, how many showings in a day, things like that. Will sellers keep the upper hand? I think they did. Sellers definitely kept the upper hand in 2022. They demanded no inspections, no contingencies, higher offers. It was definitely a seller's market. Large rentals will be in high demand. I think rentals have definitely been in high demand for the last 2 to 3 years, more because of interest rates. Interest rates started going up. People got scared.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? I'm going to stay in this rental market a little longer. Now, silly them.
Yeah, because shortly following, when home prices increase and home inventory is low, is rental rates skyrocket. Rental rates are higher right now.
Yeah, they're going up. The Sunbelt surge will extend to the secondary markets. So our Sunbelt is like your Florida, Texas, Arizona, the southern parts of the U.S. They're going to extend to the secondary market. So they're going to move a little farther north. And they're also going to move in toward a little more because they want to get away from like Colorado. Pricing in Colorado, Arizona is definitely expensive. So definitely has the secondary market. I think that was pretty accurate. People started moving this way, and with the ability to work remotely, people were able to change that up.
Yep, absolutely.
More Gen Zers and millennials will buy a second home before a primary residence. One thing I said about that earlier was that I think that's pretty accurate. What that number looks like, I don't know, but I had 2 buyers this past year that bought a secondary home before they bought a first home, and they just wanted to start building the rental income and the long-term investment. They saw the vision there, so thought that was pretty cool. No end in sight for the renovation boom. People are still renovating bathrooms, kitchens, remodeling their houses, adding a finished basement. Obviously, with interest rates going up and where we're at today, people are like, well, why sell? I just would like a newer kitchen. Let's do a new kitchen instead of buying a brand new house. Okay.
Yeah, I think interest rates play a role in that, and also people trying to just stay longer in their homes, things like that. Also, I just had this conversation with a friend of mine over the weekend. His son is 20 and now works full time. Kind of in the trades, I guess, so didn't have to do the traditional 4-year college thing or whatever. That I'm not even sure that's traditional anymore. And I said, "Are you in a hurry for him to leave?" And he said, "No." I said, "There's no reason he can't put at least 50% of his income." He's actually putting away more, so kudos to him. And when you be out of school at maybe 23, 24, nothing wrong with staying with your parents till you're 25, 26. So I get it's a little bit more difficult to get into a first-time home because the first-time home prices are a lot higher. We were talking like, I bought my first one, a 4-bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square foot in 2001. It's $103,000.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that exact house costs probably 250 because I look it up every once in a while. It's in West Dallas. Nice area, close to New Berlin. And so I'm like, if you imagine that, like, so I don't know what he makes. Let's say he makes only $50,000 a year.
Yeah, use simple math.
So, he can save half of that after income, so he can save 20 grand. He can easily save 20 grand a year.
Yeah,
He stays 5 years, there's $100,000.
right.
If you bought a $300,000 house as your first house, which does happen now, you're borrowing 200,000,
And that's
and that's very affordable.
a little more realistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because granted, yes, in 2001, but also, by the way, my interest rate in 2001 when I bought the $103,000 house was just a shade under 7, and we could be getting back down in the low 6s and 5s. So
Yeah.
again, the numbers work out. So first-time home affordability is there. It just takes some prepping, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Like being smart, right?
Yeah.
In 22 for Zillow for 2022, they said new construction gains will only be a drop in the bucket. I think that was pretty accurate. I think in 2022 we didn't see a whole lot of new construction. I think we saw some, but not as much as we needed to offset the buyers that we had out there.
Yep.
Now, 2023, I think Zillow definitely missed the mark on some of these things and hit the mark on some of them. But we're gonna talk about that. Then we'll jump into 2024 and we'll play a little true, false, indifferent with
Sure.
that. But Zillow for 2023 said housing affordability will improve slightly. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I think 2023 was still tough for home buyers. We still saw a 5 to 8% increase here in
Yep.
Southeast Wisconsin, Northern Illinois.
I guess it depends how you look at it. I could give them a little slightly might have improved because less the houses were going for 40, 50 grand over ask.
That is
So-
true.
So I'll give a maybe a little bit.
Yeah. That you're right. We weren't going
That's a
well
technical
over.
term, by the way. Maybe.
Maybe. So with the maybe Midwest will grow in demand. I think that is pretty accurate. I think the Midwest in general grew in demand. Not our big metropolitan cities like Chicago, Milwaukee, St. Louis, Indianapolis, but the outskirts cities, the smaller ones that people are going from the inner city to working their way out of, the big hodgepodge of the city. So more friends and family will buy homes together to improve debt to income ratio. I can't say.
I don't see this in the Midwest. I can see this in some of the larger, more expensive markets.
Yes. Okay.
Like out west, Seattle, California, East Coast, New York, stuff like that. Maybe Miami and Florida or something like that. Some of these more expensive ones.
Yeah.
Where your average home price is 800 grand. I can see that, but here in the Midwest, I don't see it as much. I do see families going together on the second homes.
Yeah,
The
on the
vacation
investment,
homes
yeah,
or investment homes.
yeah.
Yeah.
New construction buyers may have more choices and even bargains. Still don't think we saw enough new construction last year in this area. Now, we are seeing that if a house has been sitting for a new construction, there is some negotiating there. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for something that's already finished
Mhm.
and it's been sitting on the market for a while, and that's something that interests you, go after it. Don't be afraid to lowball them. Don't be afraid to, do seller financing with the builder. Things like that could help get you a little better, more bang for your buck. And then lastly, for 2023, more homeowners may leverage their home as a source of income, renting out basements, renting out a second room, kind of just to offset that. I can't say I saw it much at all, but
No, I didn't.
But it could be where those that bought a house in 2022 with a little bit higher interest rate, maybe they did. Maybe that was their way to offset their income.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why duplex pricing shot up.
Yeah,
massively over the last several years.
Yeah. All right, it's time for a little bit of fun. 2024 housing predictions. My BS versus their BS. Let's see what we got out there. More homes will hit the market as homeowners accept the mortgage rates aren't falling anytime soon.
Yeah, I think that's gonna happen.
True. Yep. I think we're spot on. I think we're going to see more homes start, and hopefully a few more of those starter homes are going to hit the market, especially for those that didn't jump on the refinancing of their home, things like that when interest rates were low. I think they're going to accept the fact that we're looking at, high fives, low sevens for an interest rate. Maybe time it out, maybe not, but they're going to get their house on the market. And hopefully they're going to have some equity in it. And they'll be like, oh, you know what? I have $100,000 in equity. Big deal. I'm going to put that $100,000 down and I'm having the same monthly payment for a bigger house.
Yeah.
Ideally is where it's going to go. Home buying costs will level off, giving hopeful buyers a chance to catch up. I'm going to say no. I know this is where we found out, guys, that we had no sound. It's right about here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a little bit.
A little bit. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit, and I'm saying Vince is saying right around 5. I think for the most part, there are some areas that will appreciate over 5. I think for the majority, it's gonna be under 5%. I think we're at that point, which is, by the way, that's
Normal.
It's just normal. So I'm going a little bit.
I think what it too is when we're talking about different areas. So let's talk about pockets, right? City of Kenosha, City of Racine. You got people that are looking to get out, maybe out of the city, get a little more rural, get themselves a little more land, a little less neighbors, whatever it might be. They're going to get out of that pocket. Those homes in the city, I think, are going to appreciate at your 1 to 3%. But as they get out here, there's more people and less inventory out this way.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see the 4 to 5, 6%.
Yeah, I think we already started to see that this year.
Yep.
In our counties that we work, or heavily or populated cities like Racine, Kenosha, things like that, up towards Milwaukee. I think we did see a slower appreciation rate.
Yeah.
That. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. New starter home will be a single family rentals. Single family rentals, I think they will increase next year as families are looking for more affordability options. So I think, they're finding a way to buy a house, turn it into a rental in the long run. But I think that is spot on. I think we're going to see new start home is that single family rental home that, maybe is a little bit smaller, not a big backyard, doesn't have all the, bells and whistles that homeowners want today. But that leads us to traditional home buyers are willing to buy that house that needs repairs. They're willing to outbid home flippers and things like that. And this is where we kind of got into a good discussion on who is going to win this battle, a traditional home buyer or someone that's buying as their primary residence, or your fix and flipper.
And a quick summary on it is, I think this is a great one. That's like, it depends. Your onesie twosie home flippers that are only doing 1, maybe 2, 3 properties a year, they need better margins. If you're using hard money loans, you need better margins. If you're one of those home flippers that's doing, double digits, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 a year, the big guys, all they shoot for is a profit. And when they know they're going to lose on a few. So they'll work with a little tighter margins. I think overall, the traditional home owner occupant purchase will compete better against the flippers overall, because typically you buy a home, the average is 10 years.
Yeah.
5 to 7 on first time home buyers, but you don't need that immediate margin of profit that a flipper's gonna do. So I'm gonna give a slight edge. I think there's some scenarios with the flippers that pay cash. They don't have the financing costs on the backside, so their holding costs aren't as much.
Yeah.
I give them an edge in certain instances, but overall, I'm gonna give a slight
edge
edge
to the first time home buyer.
To the first time home buyer, or just your owner occupant home buyer.
Yeah. I think they're willing to accept that this house is not perfect. They can make it their own, add their own equity, and in the long run, have a little more value. So I think you're right. I think there's a slight edge to the first time home buyer. Absolutely. I like this last one because I think Zillow nailed this, especially with what we have with Coldwell Banker. And we can talk about that a little bit too, because it's a really cool tool. Artificial intelligence will enhance the home search experience. I think that is spot on. We use a program right now called Real Scout. Real Scout, for for any of our clients, customers that are on watching this webinar or this stream right now, and you have our Real Scout app or access to our Real Scout. Basically, you're gonna get a couple different things. You're gonna get real live feed of what properties are out there, and then you're gonna be able to say I like it, I don't like it, and you're gonna be able to favorite some things on there. So you like the fact that it has a big yard, or you like the fact that there's a pool. You're gonna give it a little heart or a little thumbs up.
The system learns
Yep.
your likes and dislikes, and then will start feeding you properties and notifying us too of properties that you were more likely to enjoy
Right.
because of its similar characteristics to the homes that you've been saying, yes, I like this, or no, I don't like this. Thumbs up, thumb down is that's how it does it. I'll say this too on this program. We just shifted. We got a lot of new programs we're getting in basically the last 2 weeks and over the next few weeks that we're either launching new, readjusting from our move, things like that. This Real Scout one is pretty awesome, and you can go on there's a website for it, or there's an app if you want to use it on the phone.
Correct.
And if you're a homeowner that's not looking to probably make a move, there's also basically a market analysis or kind of like it gives you well, we can gauge it. I'm not going to blow up your inbox. I'm doing quarterly for most of you, unless I know that you're going to be probably the next year looking to maybe sell. It tells you like areas around your home that are hot right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So
hot buyers.
The hot buyers, which is pretty cool. So you're basically staying in tune to, the likelihood of you being to sell your home and how quickly with this tool. So, and it's all part of a little bit of artificial intelligence involved with it. So,
yeah. So, and artificial intelligence is going to help also, you're going to start seeing more. I mean, we already see it right now, virtual staging and pictures.
Yeah.
We're also going to see probably more 3D like showings
Mhm.
or videos to where you can almost walk the property and kind of get a real feel of what it looks like inside.
Absolutely.
Versus just, your normal picture. So, did Zillow hit it? I think it's a pretty even mix. Let's throw it out there. Where do we think interest rates are going to be by, let's say by the end of June? Where do you think we're going to be down to? Or up to?
And I actually will be down.
Okay.
Based on prediction, the Fed is scheduled now to cut rates. They're saying 6 times in 2024. We haven't officially hit 2024 yet, and interest rates have already gone like we mentioned that you guys could hear at the beginning of the show. Interest rates just 3 weeks ago were tipping over 8%. Again,
Yep.
national averages on conventional loans. They are this morning at 6.64.
Okay.
So
1.36.
So now you've got the Fed cutting rates scheduled 6 times in 2024. I think they get down in the 5s.
Okay. Are we thinking high 5s, low 5s, mid 5s?
I'm gonna give a range. I think somewhere between the low 5s to mid 5s
By June.
by June.
I'm going to say 5.75 to 6.
Okay. So either way, I think so you're really starting to split hairs here. So I did some math for us here.
Yeah, let's hear it. What do we got?
So I went, and this is your loan amount. It doesn't have to be your purchase amount. So I took your loan amount and I broke down basically kind of so conventional loan right now, again, one of the average is 6.6. So I went ahead and just did 6.5. So if you borrow $250,000 on a conventional mortgage at 6.5%, your principal interest is $1,580.17.
Okay.
Okay. 0.5% difference basically saves you about $90.
Okay.
Okay. That's on $250,000. So, and then go down to 5.5%. So mortgages, they go from where they're at now, which is basically 6.5. They drop about 1% to that 5.5 point range. You are looking at about $170 difference in principal interest.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. It's huge. Like for those that aren't putting 20% down, there's your PMI.
Yep.
That could be that could be saving like basically what your PMI is adding to it. And obviously the savings is savings, right? So it's a huge difference. So because one of the questions you always get is when should I refi? And we always say marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah.
So for those that are buying right now, you find that house you like, buy it. Because there's a really good chance about mid-year to end of the year next year, I'd be watching that and listen to the trends because because you can only refi things every 6 months. Most lenders will
Okay.
let you.
Okay.
There's reasons for that in there. Plus it costs you money to refinance.
Typically.
So I'm gonna watch like, all right, in June, let's say we're down to about 5.8%, 5.5, whatever. But they're projecting it could go down close to 5. I'm probably gonna wait,
Yeah.
right?
Now it's risk reward, right?
Right.
Risk reward.
If there's a risk reward there. Now, let's look at right now. FHA is down around 6.1%. That save 250,000 is a little over a hunt from again, this is from excuse me, comparing that to the 6.6 of the
The conventional.
conventional. You're saving about $70 if you go FHA.
Yep.
Okay. If we go to 5.6% FHA, you're
Yeah.
at 1435. Again, you got about $80 savings. 5.1, you're actually down all the way. The difference from 6.6 down to 5.1 is a $230 savings roughly.
And let's talk about, I want to talk about just a couple things real quick here, and then we'll wind up.
Mhm.
But a lot of buyers who don't know, right? Just don't know or aren't informed. They're like, oh, FHA, I heard that's not good to go with. There is nothing wrong with FHA loans. Now, there are some added restrictions on FHA loans that we as agents will kind of talk to you about, walk you through when we're looking at houses. If we know you're on an FHA and the house is gutted and there's no, windows, no plumbing, there's, exposed wires, we'll be like, yeah, gonna have an issue with FHA here, guys. But if the house is just, outdated,
Right.
but, it's sound, it's functional, it's your grandma's house that was well taken care of, it might pass FHA. And we can talk about that in a little more detail. So don't be afraid of FHA loans.
And we really got to get one of our lender partners in here soon to talk about the difference too, because there's ways you can buy down your rate.
Yeah.
So if rates do get down to 6%, and you can buy it down to all the way maybe down to 5%. Well, the difference between 6% and I have the calculations on 5.1. I mentioned at 6% on a $250,000 loan, you're just under 1,500. At 5%, you're basically at 1,300.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So there's $200 right there.
Yeah.
Right now, what does this look like compared to the lovely days when things are at 3.5%?
Well, let's not even forget, we're not going to get to 3.5%. Let's talk about waiting today versus buying in a year from now.
There too.
Let's talk about 2 years ago, that median home price in Kenosha and Racine County,
Yep.
okay, based on MLS data, was $250,000. That got you a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,800 square feet.
Yep.
And that, and keep in mind, Kenosha and Racine County covers city of Kenosha, city of Racine. So that same house in the county is probably gonna be a little bit different. But median home price 2 years ago, $250,000. That same house this past year was $300,000. So it's a $50,000 difference.
Yep.
If home prices continue to appreciate, are you just shooting yourself in the foot? 1. 2, yes, talked about we could buy down rates. Also keep in mind, a lot of people don't take, a lender's going to take in, they're going to put what your taxes are, right? So they're going to say average taxes are going to be $3,600. Now, depending on where you're looking, your taxes may only be $2,000, which could offset that difference on how much you're paying in your mortgage too.
Correct.
So keep that in mind when you're looking at a house. Well, you know what? I can afford a little more because I'm only going to look at houses that are between $2,000 and $2,400 a month in tax or year in taxes versus $3,600 or $4,000. Sorry,
Exactly.
go ahead to your point of.
Well, my point is, so if you look at a difference at 6% interest rate, just down to 5%, your savings there. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. If you're comparing like a 6% interest rate to a 3.5% interest rate, again, on the $250,000 borrow, it's a 376% savings.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's huge.
It's a big number. I get it. Even if you're even compared 5.1 to 3.5, it's a 230 some dollars savings. I get it. That's a big number for people to swallow. But this is another thing where you can save money. And I've done this with investment properties. And I've used hard money lenders and stuff like that. Well, their interest rates are around 12, 15%. time is everything and what you pay is everything.
Yep.
So try to work into your budget that you pay an extra $200, $300 a month over the life of your loan. So that's the number that I like to look at. So I've got on my calculator here the $250,000 at the I'm just gonna go flat 5.5%. I had to higher. I'm gonna go 5.5%. 1419. Now, if you can truly afford an extra $300 a month, I mean that might be high. Let's just even go 100. You know what's that change in your life? $100.
One less meal out. Well, for the family.
Family, yeah. Family afford McDonald's anymore, it feels like. And I'm sorry, McDonald's used to not as affordable as you were as when I was a child. So, first of all, you save an interest over your 30-year mortgage.
30 years, yep.
You save $44,000 in interest, almost $45,000 interest, by the way. Oh, by the way, and you knock off 4 years, almost 4.5 years.
That's crazy.
So don't get so wrapped up to an interest rate. Buy within your budget, and that's why I like these fixer uppers too for homeowners. Like if you're willing to, doesn't have to be fixer upper too. Sometimes it's just I'm going to buy this house, but it'd be worth more if I finish the basement.
Right.
Look for things that can add to equity, and then you can also do your refinances and whatever as needed. But then try to build in your budget that you can pay an extra $100 a month.
Yeah, yeah.
Just $100 a month. Oh my gosh, if you could even just do 200 a month, double that up, right? You just turned your 30-year mortgage into almost, not quite, a 20-year mortgage.
20-year mortgage. Okay. Yeah.
And saving yourself $75,000.
One thing I like, if people are looking to pay extra on their principal, I tell them to have it auto drafted out of their check if you get paid every 2 weeks, $100 extra goes into your mortgage, right? That is 26 extra payments a year.
And some lenders, by the way, offer you that they'll take your mortgage and split it up every
2 weeks
or twice a month, basically.
Yeah.
When you do that, oh no, every 2 weeks. Sorry,
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks, and when you do that, you actually make an extra mortgage payment too.
Yeah.
So if you're paying every time you make those 2 payments every 2 weeks, you're paying, let's say, $50 on each one. Then you're 100 every month, and then because it's 52 weeks in the year, you're actually making one extra full payment.
Right.
You probably do take a 30-year mortgage and trim it down about 20 years.
Yep, pretty easily. And if you're doing that too on the financial side, it's a lot easier to swallow. Let's say you have a $1,500 mortgage. It's a lot easier to swallow $750 every 2 weeks than it is $1,500. So from a budgeting standpoint, it's a lot easier to know what that every 2 week looks like.
Right, because let's face it, for a lot of us, not choice, but even necessity, we're on budgets, right? Yeah, I can't live in a budget-free world, unfortunately. I'm not in the level. So, whereas if you're paying stuff once a month, you got that extra money there like 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks, you still got another 2 weeks, like I got more money coming in, right? I'm more likely to go buy, especially myself, I'll just use myself. I'm more likely to go more golf crap and shit like that.
Right? Yeah, 100%.
Versus if I'm paying everything, it's like, all right, that money's now gone.
Yep.
Now I've already got less money than I would in 2 weeks.
Right.
So it's a mental game on your budgeting.
It really is. It really is. All right, let's wrap up here. I'm Vince Duvall with Eagle Homes, powered by Caldwell Banker.
And I'm Brad Brewer with all those wonderful places as well.
Have a great week, everyone. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.